Hello, everyone, and welcome to Out of Nowhere. Well, my guest today is Les for Les. On today's show, Les will share stories and discuss OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support, as well as its mission to reach out and provide help and support to those who have encountered extraordinary paranormal experiences. Can we please welcome Les to the show? Hello there.
Hey, Bob, how are you? It's great to be with you.
It's nice to be, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, you're a fantastic guest. I know you've been on before, but it's quite a while ago since
Yes,
you were last on the show.
that's right. Over a year.
Yes, it will be. When we talk about MUFON, how did you get involved with MUFON?
Good question. Well, I guess you have to really go back in my upbringing when lived in Connecticut in the U.S. here. I was 11 years old, and I was coming into the house in late October, and it was already getting dark. And I look over to my right, and here's this object. It was only like 500 feet away over a tree line, and it was no sound, no nothing. And it was just kind of moving slowly, and it disappeared, but it scared the heck out of me. And I ran in the house and to try to get my father to come out, and finally he did come out, but it was gone by that time. And he said, "Oh, it's probably just a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud or something, nothing too serious." And I didn't buy that. And I went to the library shortly thereafter and started to pick up books on UFOs and got really interested in it. But I was only I was only 11 years old at that point, and life tends to take you in other directions as you grow older.
Yeah,
And I did end up kind of forgetting about the whole thing. It kind of, wasn't that on my mind as much as it was when I got older. And I went off to college and graduated and went into the service. And after that, I got a job back in Connecticut. And in 1985, I moved out to California with my family and San Jose. And I picked up the San Jose Mercury News one morning. And there was an article about this nuclear physicist by the name of Stanton Freeman that was coming to San Jose City College to talk about UFOs and the government cover up. And oh my God, it was like somebody threw a switch. And it
oh,
was like,
yeah,
I got to go see this guy. And I expected to see just a handful of people there in the auditorium, and it was packed. And he gave one of his inimitable presentations and showing all this redacted material that he had gotten. Um, and so it was thrilling, to listen to what he had to say. And on my way out, and when he finished, um, there was a table set up by MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, which was established here in Texas, Seguin, Texas, in 1969 by a couple of engineers. And found out that they publish a monthly journal and talking about cases. And so I said, okay, I gotta start getting that. So I did. After a while, though, it wasn't enough for me. I said, I got to get more involved. And so
yeah.
they had a training program for field investigators. So I became a field investigator. And that's when things really got interesting and I was kind of a nuts and bolts kind of a guy back in those days. And these people that I investigated would tell me not only did they have a sighting, but that subsequently they had contact with non-human intelligences. And I'm going, what? And so I was quite skeptical on that first case. But then the rest of the cases that I got involved with were not only, people seeing things, but having contact. And I'm going, oh my goodness, something is happening here.
Mm.
And so one day, one of these people asked me, "Do I know of other people having similar experiences?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And next thing I know, I'm facilitating a support group in my office in San
Oh,
Jose.
brilliant.
So, and that's when I really started to find out some really interesting things that these people had to say about their experiences, and and it just started to get more and more interesting. And uh, one day I got a call from the international director of MUFON saying that there was a reporter in the area that wanted to speak to somebody about UFOs and investigations. So, and he asked if he could give my contact information to this reporter. And so I said, sure. And so I met with him, and he took this picture of me, which ended up on the cover of this weekly magazine. Uh, I'm looking up in the sky, and
Yeah.
it says UFO investigator, So, but he wrote a wonderful story. I mean, he wrote a report, I should say, and it was well done, I thought. And shortly thereafter, I got a call from a woman that saw the article and wanted to see if I could possibly help her. And I said, "So what are you talking about?" And she says, "Well, I'm in contact with these off-earthly entities, and I'd like to understand what's going on with my brain when I'm in contact." And I'm going to myself, "Oh my goodness, I don't know how to
Yeah.
possibly help her." Um, but then she said she was working with an emergency room doctor near her, and that triggered something because I had a doctor friend that was involved with the UFO field, and he was always interested in meeting other doctors that were interested. So I called him up and I said, "Hey, why don't we go down there? You can meet this other doctor, and we can find out more about this woman and what her experiences are." So we did. We went down on a Saturday, and as we were walking into her house, I see this picture on the wall, and she's standing on the back of this rather large vessel in crystal clear blue waters, and obviously the Caribbean somewhere.
Yeah.
And I said, "So what's this all about?" And she says, "Well, I was down there helping these treasure hunters." And I said, "Really? How are you doing that?" And she says, "Well, I was in contact with the captain of the galleon that had gone down."
Oh,
Well, that started the afternoon off with a bang, so to
yeah,
speak.
very good.
And subsequently, she started to tell us things about ourselves that there was no possible way that she could. And what we found out was that after a near death experience that she had, she became very psychic. And so we came away from that afternoon with our heads spinning, and then also trying to figure out how we could possibly help people like this.
Mm.
And we decided that we needed to just put together an organization. And in 1994, with my doctor friend, we founded OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support, um, and which now we've been doing this for over 3 decades now, helping people. Unfortunately, my doctor friend passed away a couple of years ago, so I'm the last of the Mohegans as far as the founding members. But we put together a pretty good group of people that's on our board and on our advisory board.
How did how did Opus get involved with MUFON then?
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, MUFON traditionally has been a nuts and bolts type of an organization where they're just getting pictures of UFOs and talking to people about their sightings and trying to find evidence, whether they're crop circles or whether they're imprints in the ground or things of that nature, and testing soil samples, and like I say, more of a nuts and bolts type of approach. and
Yeah.
and what was happening was that I talked to the international director one day, at the time, and this goes back to the early 2000s, and said, we're missing the boat on these people that are looking for help with their contact with non-human intelligences, and MUFON is not set up to handle it. So what happened was he decided, James Carrion was the gentleman that was the international director at the time, said, okay, what we're going to do, all the phone calls that come into us, we're going to redirect them to you. And so I would get these recordings, okay, of these people leaving messages on the MUFON phone line, and then I would call these people and then try to find out what's going on, and then seeing what kind of help they wanted.
Mm.
And so that's how it all started. And then finally, Kathleen Martin decided that, yeah, it's time that MUFON put together an organization, which they did, to do the same thing basically that OPUS is doing. But we do it a little bit more, we're more involved, because we have three ways that we help people. We have a referral network of mental health practitioners and hypnotherapists. We have the online support group, which is unique to OPUS. This is a confidential online support group, and we have people from all over the world, literally all over the world, taking part in it. We have over 500 people now that are actively, and this number is continually evolving. We have people that drop out, people that come back in, or new people that come in. But they're talking 24/7 to one another about their experiences, and it's proved to be probably the most helpful type of a thing for people to understand they're not alone, that there's other people having these kind of things, that they're not crazy. I mean, we get people all the time that have been to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and because they thought they were going crazy, and they find out that they're not going crazy. They don't have a psychopathology. And then what's the next step for them? Where do they turn?
It's true that, because where do you go when you see something or you get abducted and you think,
Yeah.
who can I talk to? Because they must think I'm balmy, must think I'm crackers.
Exactly.
But it's a good thing that there's places like and people like you where people can go and talk to.
Right. Exactly. And so then we have a what we call our EST, our experiencer support team, that does triage with these people when they come to us, and are able to talk to them, find out what it is that they would like to see happen. And then we try to help them as best we can, whether it's a referral to a mental health practitioner or a being added to the support group. And like that has proved to be a very helpful thing. And this was a more recent ad that we did by bringing in these people that have had experience working with these people. Matter of fact, a number of people from MUFON have come our way. There's been some internal issues, I guess, with MUFON, where some people weren't liking what was going on, so they've moved over here to us. But we still work with MUFON very closely. We share information as far as therapists that might be interested in helping people. So if we get one, we give them the name of the person, contact information, and vice versa. So that's good. That we are working together.
Yeah, I agree with you there as well. What is the Omega 3 study and their findings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we did, the Omega-3 study was actually funded by MUFON. And this goes back to the early 2000s as well, whereby we took 71 people that claimed that they had contact with non-human intelligences, and we had a control group that did not have any type of experience of that nature, to do a comparison. And we did find out some pretty interesting things. I'll read you some of the
Yes,
findings here.
yes,
Uh,
please.
yeah, in general, abductees and experiences profile differently than do their comparison counterparts on a number of general psychological and specific neurological variables. Yet there are remarkable similarities between the experiential group and the comparison group. It should be noted that in no case did experiencers or comparison group participants show any signs of mental illness or personality disorder. So there was no psychopathology involved with any of these people, and which was right away an interesting finding. Fantasy proneness, which is the bunkers bring it up all the time, does not appear to play a differentiating role between the experiential and the control groups. However, sensitivity to alternative realities and early and recurrent paranormal or psi experiences seem to play a role in the abduction experience. Childhood conflict, psychosocial tension and abuse, and trauma more than likely facilitated dissociative coping style in later life. How much a part dissociation plays in the abduction experience remains an open question. So these people, a lot of these experiences start in early childhood, uh,
Mm,
and so is the trauma causing this dissociation, which causes them to be able to handle the situation better. That certainly seems to be a factor, um, and so uh, it's how that really still we're just in a process right now of the omega-4 study, where we're digging deeper into that area as well. Um, Both experience with and interest in the abduction phenomena have impact on how one's body is perceived to function, how one views the world and one's purpose in it, and how one defines or redefines one's faith, tradition, and beliefs. In essence, both experience with and interest in contact seem to change one's sense of self and one's worldview. And that one of the other interesting commonalities that occurs after these experiences is that they come back with this incredible desire that we be uh, better to one another, be more loving, to be better stewards of the planet, and uh, be be concerned with pollution and the air and the waters and things of that nature. These are all very positive traits when
yeah,
they come
oh, yeah,
back.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
then abductees and experiencers believe that there is a sentient, purposive alien intelligence at play in their lives and at work in the world. What the intelligence goals are seen to be more beneficent than benevolent, more benign than malignant. So, and what we found out is that a lot of these people are just they don't want these things to stop. It's like 70 to 75% of these people want these contacts to continue. Only that smaller uh,
Percentage.
group are looking to have it stop because they're having very negative type of experiences. All these experiences in the beginning are quite traumatic. Ontological shock because this is a whole different reality that's happening, that we're trying to deal with and trying to understand. Um, so the other thing that came up in this study was that the brain generally in the temporal lobes and limbic system more particularly play a mediating role in the anomalous experiences such as abduction. So what we found is that the temporal lobe activity in the experiencers differs from the control group. There's something else going on in the brain
Right.
uh, that's opening up these people to these experiences. And so what we've done now with the follow on with the omega 4 study is talking to therapists first. We wanted to get their reaction to working with these people that claim to be experiencers. And then the second part of that is that we actually are working with the experiencers themselves that these therapists have been working with, and we're almost done with the the statistical information on that and the questions, and so we're going to be hoping to get it published in a appropriate journal, and then probably come back on your show and talk about it.
Oh God, yeah. But
Yeah.
when you talk about all these individual entities and all that, what are hybrids?
What are hybrids?
Yeah.
Yeah, hybrids. This is an interesting area. One of our board members is a woman, Geraldine Orozco, and she's had multiple miscarriages, but the fetuses have been taken from her, and she claims to have like 21 children um, that she's actually met, and basically they're hybrids because they've taken the fetus from her and was impregnated supposedly somehow, some way, which we certainly don't understand fully. Um, and that these children are they're getting better at the hybridization process. That supposedly they're walking among us right now. That you can't tell them apart from human beings. And so, why are they doing that? Well, is it sort of a way to take over without taking out your ray gun? um, because eventually it'll be all them and none of us anymore. Or is it something where they need to do this to propagate their own race? And so those are the two main reasons behind the process. Um,
But
which,
like, but sometimes it can be very distressing for a lady, especially. I interviewed a lady about 5 years ago. Her and her husband. She was 2 months pregnant.
mhm,
Middle of the night, this light came in, took them on board a craft. Remember being on the table, both of them on opposite tables, and he was looking over and saying, "God, what they're doing to me
mhm,
wife."
mhm,
When they got back into bed, and they woke up in the morning, blood everywhere on her side.
mhm,
Anyway, she went to doctors,
mhm.
and it had gone. The baby had vanished
Yeah,
completely.
yeah, yeah.
And
That's
doctor couldn't explain. He said, "I just don't know what's happened."
yeah, yeah. I years and years ago, I went to the National Archives and did some research on these cases where women lost their fetus, and it happens a lot. It happens a lot, and you know what are we dealing with? I mean, this process, millions of people have had this happen. Millions. This is not just 100 or 1,000. This is millions. And I my latest theory. Okay, hold on to your hat on this one, Bob.
Yeah, okay.
I believe we've all had an experience, whether we consciously remember it or not. I've got a hell of a story that happened during one of the support group meetings in San Jose. A person in the group said one day at the end of the meeting, "I've seen you before, by the way." I said, "Really? At a UFO conference?" "No, no, I saw you on board the craft." I said, "Really?" Huh.
Oh God.
And I kind of disregarded it. I didn't
Yeah,
think much
shrugged it off.
about it. Yeah, and it was probably a year and a half later. Somebody totally different that was in the group came up to me after the meeting and said, "Hey, I've seen you before." And I said, "Oh, where? UFO No, no. You were sitting on this bench naked on board the craft and you were freaking out, and they told me to go over to you to calm you down." Well,
Oh,
at that point, I decided I'm going to go and get regressed. and I'm going to try to find something out.
Right. So
Well,
did you?
so what I did, I had multiple past lives. That's what I found out. I didn't come up with a recollection of being on board a craft, but during a subsequent conversation with a person, they said that, well, perhaps this person did see you, but it was in a previous lifetime, and which they didn't bring up. And these are the kind of things, because they seem to be able to manipulate space and time. You know, they
Yeah.
they they bring you back before they took you.
Yeah.
Kind of
I'm
a
with
thing.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, uh, and so that's what we're dealing with. Arthur C. Clarke says, these things look like magic. You know, but it's technology. Somehow they're manipulating technology to be able to do things like this. Um, but yeah, so I have not gone back to look at my previous lifetimes and to see if there is something more, because I'm quite happy not knowing at this
Yes,
point.
I agree with you there as well. And a lot of people say, what about implants? How does that happen?
Yeah, well, that seems to be very common. The late Dr. Roger Lear did some investigation, had 17 different experiencers come to him and have these things removed, and it's quite fascinating. And let me just read you something about those implants. They're fascinating, um, and he did some incredible. Investigation. One of the factors is that there's no inflammatory or rejection reaction by the body to these foreign objects, which is unusual. You get a little splinter in your finger, you know it right away.
Yeah, of course you do.
There's no visible portal of entry. Collections of specialized nerve endings surrounding the object, an outer coating of ceramic biological material, a metallic phase where inorganic metal becomes biological tissue, which is bizarre, the emission of radio waves, which are deep space frequencies in the FM band. So, are we being tracked via that device? Is it monitoring something in our bodies? I've heard that it's monitoring pollution levels in our bodies. Electromagnetic fields in excess of 10 milligauss. Composition of meteoric iron 66, rare earth metals such as U-236, a single isotope of uranium existing by itself, as well as elements such as uridium, which is a very rare and hard to find in the Earth's crust. No, this next one is really interesting and kind of points to the fact that it's probably not us doing this.
Right.
Non-terrestrial isotopic ratios indicating the involved elements did not come from Earth. Bingo. So who's who's it's them, whoever them is, whether it's extraterrestrial, is it interdimensional, is it time travelers, is it our military, or is it all the above, which I kind of think it could be, especially in some cases where they figure these psychological war game type things where they try to freak people out and do certain things to people. The military has conducted things like that in the past, and our government's messed around with, MK Ultra, program where they're giving people LSD and all kinds of nasty things. Anyway, the existence of carbon nanotubes and nanostrands and nanofibers, which a lot of this we can do now, but back when some of these people had these implants done, we didn't have that technology. Gold spheres that have unknown function, metallic caverns that are no larger than the diameter of one atom.
Oh,
Resistance to ordinary cutting techniques such as metallic sawing or severing with a cutting instrument. One of the specimens had to be cut with a laser. So anyway, Dr. Lear did such a wonderful service to the community when he actually investigated these things and came up with this information. So it's a unique little thing. And matter of fact, Whitley Strieber has one behind his ear. and it communicates with them and helps them writing stories.
Yeah, well, there's always been something about that. About even Tesla when he were alive, he talked about getting downloads
Hmm.
where he could invent things out
Yeah.
of nothing.
Hmm. Yeah. So we're in contact with these entities, and our latest congressional hearings on the UAP topic have been really quite interesting, and hopefully we're going to continue to go down that road and really get this out there. But they talked about the fact that interdimensionality, that these entities could be of that type. Um, but I think we also have extraterrestrials that have figured out a way to get here, go from A to B, and not spend a lot of time doing that.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely. They can be
yeah,
here in seconds.
oh yeah, yeah,
What do you
absolutely.
think? When you talk about aliens, what do you think their agenda is?
Well, I think it depends on what group you're talking about, because there's supposedly, a plethora of of these entities. Whether you're talking about the Greys, or you're talking about the reptilians, or the Nordics, or the mantid type creatures. It's all fascinating, and they all seem to be working together in some cases. The small Greys do the abduction, and then the tall Greys may get involved. But then you have the mantid types that seems to be the head of the team, and then the Nordics kind of look on and see what's going on, and don't get super involved in a negative way of
No,
any of these things. And then you got cases where people have seen our military people involved, on board these craft. Um, so as far as the agenda is concerned, I guess we have relations with a group, maybe multiple groups. Haim Eshed, that Israeli general that came out with a book, talked about the fact that, oh yeah, we have relations with these entities. We have bases on the moon. We have bases on Mars. This is all common knowledge, I guess, with certain groups, in the government. Um, and what he also said was that the aliens don't want to come out, in any big way yet, because they say we're not ready. We're not ready for that. Um,
yeah,
so how true that is, I don't know. Uh, the story about the reptilians is that they've been here. Matter of fact, they've been here longer than we have been here on this earth, uh, and they probably not really happy with the humanity taking over, so to speak. Um, and then you have the Greys seemingly doing things to propagate the races, their race, or the mantid type race. I don't exactly know how the mantids, because they have not done any hybridization themselves to change the way they look. They still look pretty bad. um, so it's a crapshoot as far as what the ultimate agenda is. Are they trying to take over? Well, with all these people that they've abducted, and most of them wanting the situation to continue, and have a worldview, maybe they're trying to save our butts in some way, shape, or form. We all come back with these positive and good things, that we need to be more loving. We need to be better to one another. We need to be better to the earth, better stewards of the planet. Those are all really positive things that hopefully, we don't blow ourselves up in the meantime, to get to a point where we reach critical mass of this type of a thinking, and we can get rid of the Putins of the world, and the Trumps of the world, and people that are just wacko.
hey, your book, The Unknown Other, an extinction proposition of alien contact. What does the unknown other really mean in contact of alien contact?
Yeah, what I wanted to do was basically put a book out that for people that aren't aware of what's going on, to talk about these individuals. There's like 25 stories in there from people that have had contact with non-human intelligences. Um, and I wanted to just present it in a way, in a factual way, the psychological effects, the physical effects that are going on with people, and also point to the fact that there is something going on, folks, and it's important that we understand it. Just like our government now is hopefully getting more involved in a more open way. Um, uh, like Lou Elizondo,
Yeah.
talks about the fact that we need to better understand what's their motivation, why are they here, what are they doing, um, and that could be an existential issue. Um, and so I just wanted to kind of put it out there in a way that people that aren't familiar with the whole situation can get a better grasp of the topic and what is actually happening to these people. And so, is that something we should be really concerned with? I would say so.
Do you think some of these alien crafts what are being sighted are ours?
Yeah, there's some evidence that says yes. These the military industrial complex is in full bloom, if you will. That we've gone beyond just looking at these crashed UFOs. We've reverse engineered some of this stuff, and that some of these, you look at Bob Lazar, talking about the fact that yeah, we've been reverse engineering this stuff for a long time, and so based on the sightings around Area 51, that there seems to be things that we're involved with that uh, look like a UFO and can possibly be one of ours. So I think it's totally possible. But I think the vast majority of the sightings are not ours. It's them.
Oh, question here from Stargazer here. Have any of these contactees managed to stop their abduction?
Yes, yes. I recommend a book by Anne Druffel, where she put together, I think it's like 9 different ways people have successfully stopped the abductions. Um, One of the interesting ones is the invoking the name of Jesus Christ, and being very positive. Very. What happens in a lot of cases is that people say they want it to stop, but they're still curious, and that gives them a window into your head, so to speak. That in one hand they want it to stop, but at the same time they're still curious, and that thought is there. So you have to be very definitive about your wanting to stop it, and then utilizing, as I said, one it comes up time and time again where people have said, "Well, yeah, I was able to stop it by invoking the name of Jesus Christ." But there are other ways too people have utilized. And that book by Ann Druffel is called um, "How to Stop Alien Abductions." Her name is spelled Druffel. Ann Druffel. Um, so it's a really interesting book, and it gives you like 9 different ways to uh, uh, prevent the abduction.
Are UFOs and alien contact modern myths, or are there something else?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Are UFOs and alien contact modern myths,
Oh,
or are there something else?
well, I think it's. I don't think it's a modern myth. If we get into Carl Jung and all of that, that's he talks about that. But I believe this is real. This is absolutely real. There are physical effects that these craft, especially if you come into close contact. So I don't recommend getting close to these things if you have the opportunity. Don't do it. Um, I think that it's very physical. Um, it's also uh, other types of things where out of body experiences. So now we get into a whole nother reality, um, and so it's not just one thing; it's multiple things. We deal with poltergeist activity. Okay, um, I did an interview with a woman that uh, not only was involved with contact with non-human intelligences, but with ghosts and uh, being involved with a house that was haunted and hearing like gunshots and things like of that nature, and it, and people talking in a way that she felt she was dealing with something that was like Revolutionary War type situation,
Mm.
and actually started to EVP um, some of the voices, and these voices were saying, "We see you, but you look like you're dead." And I mean, it was a fascinating interview. You go on the YouTube site that Opus has. It's Opus separate word network on YouTube. You go there. We have a number of really interesting interviews, and that this one with this woman was remarkable. um, but yeah, so you're dealing with all types of paranormal things. I mean, is it angels? Yes. Look at the Chris Bledsoe's book, UFO of God. Um, Talks about this angel, basically a woman. Uh, Demons? Oh my goodness, demons are for real. Um, I've had so many people contact us with not only stories about uh, ghosts, but demons being involved. So the paranormal is there is many areas, and so we also deal with things of that nature. But predominantly, as the years have gone by, we've focused on people talking about their contact with non-human intelligence is more of your UAP type of a situation.
I went to interview a woman, God, was it last year or year before, who had aliens in her house in a bungalow.
Mm,
And she was really having a really bad time. Went to the bungalow, me and Paul did, sat with her. She said, they're not here now, but as soon as you go, they appear on that wall. And I
mm,
said, try to explain to me what you can see. And she said it was more like an angel type
mm-hmm,
thing
mm-hmm,
on the wall.
yeah.
And she said, it gives me blinding headaches all
Mm,
the time when it's around. And
mm,
it was up there for quite a while. She said it goes in other rooms as well. So Paul went in other rooms, and I sat there trying to visualize what this entity could be. Um, but no appeared at all. I tried my best for it to appear, and I felt really sorry for her. Uh,
mm-hmm,
she tried to get involved, talk to her children. They said, "Mum, you're going daft." She said, "I've been to see a psychiatrist. I've been to see lots of different people," and they said, "Nothing wrong with you, woman."
mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Well,
that's typical. That's typical. I mean, they find out, they're worried about going crazy, and then they go and find out that they're not crazy. So then what do you do? And that's that's the bottom line, is that this is just another reality
I
that
think,
we're
yeah,
in.
I think some people are chosen to see things. Some people are more open to see things, and other people shut things out.
Yeah, I think there's some physicality to some of these sightings too, where you have a couple of people or a group of people, and some of the people in the group can see the object, and others don't see anything. Um, and I think that could be actually something to do with the spectrum of the person's eye and brain, that it can see in a different frequency that goes on too. So I definitely agree with you on that. That there's definitely some physicality involved with a lot of these sightings. That some people see them and some people don't.
Do you think there's more people coming out now and more talking about it, and like they did 30 years ago?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Well, I mean, we have the technology now with our phones. Everybody's got a phone on them all the time now, and you have photographic capability. You've got podcasts like yours that are out there doing a great job. By the way, thank you for what you do.
Thank
It's
you.
so important to get the word out. And you have shows, on television that are talking and dealing with this, like Ancient Aliens, for instance, on the History Channel. I mean, they've done a remarkable job over the years presenting a lot of information. And then there's a lot of films coming out, documentaries coming out. There's one coming out at the end of this month that on disclosure that should be very interesting for people to take a look at. And other organizations that are, Danny Sheehan's group that is looking at it. He's a lawyer. He's been doing a lot of interesting research and setting up, helping all these whistleblowers come to Congress and tell their story. I mean, by now, if you don't believe that these things are real, then you got to be living under a rock. So I think all these debunkers have kind of disappeared. A lot of them have, lost a lot of credibility. And the way they say, oh, yeah, well, that's Venus or that's swamp gas,
Yeah,
baloney.
that's always a good one. That's
Yep.
Venus up there. Venus. It's always Venus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can't think of anything else. How might contact with extraterrestrials intelligent challenge our understanding of self-conscious or reality?
Well, I think that's consciousness has been a big topic, of late. That what is that? What is consciousness? Can you describe that? What is that? Um, but it's a term that seems to be thrown around quite a bit lately, and uh, it's like, how do we deal with what's going on now? Wh- we're we're being primed, if you will, to make that next move, the dimensional move, to be able to better understand this phenomena, and so consciousness probably plays an important part in it. Um, People, have conscious dissidence with this topic for years and years and years, but now it's starting to get, chip away at it and say, hey, wait a minute. We get people come to us all the time. I never thought about this UAP topic at all until I saw this object. And then the next thing I know, 3 hours later, I'm down the road. I don't know how I got there. And so they're waking up. It's almost a wake up, a conscious wake up call that's going on right now. And like I said, it's happening to millions. I mean, the Roper organization back in the 90s, early 90s, did a survey. And back then they were talking about just in the US, 6 million people having had this experience. What? And now this is a worldwide phenomena. It's a worldwide phenomena. So just think about how many other millions of people are having experiences.
Yeah,
We're
do you think we are part alien life ourselves?
Well, I think we've been manipulated. Gary Nolan from Stanford University did a presentation one time, which I thought was fascinating. He was saying, the geologists say that our planet is 4.5 billion years old. Okay. Now, if you look at how often our genome mutates, it takes about 600,000 years. Now, if you equate that to where we are now in our physical makeup, in our brain makeup, we would have to be, this planet would have to be 9 billion years old. Okay. So if we're not 9 billion years old, then somebody messed around with our genome at some point in the past, eons ago. And that's why they keep coming back and following their experiment. I mean, it's like they started this process and now they're following it and continuing, because people have said, well, if they're so smart, why the hell do they need to keep picking us up and keep abducting us and doing things to us if they're so smart? Well, the bottom line is they're scientists. They're following an experiment.
Yeah.
And they keep tweaking it. They keep tweaking it. And so yeah, I think that between Gary Nolan, what he said, and the overall feeling about, well, because take a look at what we do. We go out in the ocean. We'll take a dolphin out of the water. Okay, we'll take a blood sample. We'll tag him. We'll measure him. We'll do all kinds of things on the deck of the boat, and then
Yeah.
we throw him back in the water. Okay, and
Yeah.
then a year later we come back. Hey, we caught the same one. Okay, let's check him out. Let's see where's his tag.
Very
We take
thing.
same
Yeah.
thing. Same thing.
Yeah, because we do it with sharks. We do it with a lot of things now, don't we?
Yeah, and then I think too that they're teaching their next generation how to do this stuff. So they keep coming back and okay, now this is the way you're supposed to abduct this person. Okay. And it's very mundane in a way that they're doing the same things we do in a way. So,
So do you think, when that guy was saying he'd seen you in a crowd, do you think you're being abducted yourself?
well, like I say, when those person talked about that, the first time I blew it off, second time I said, okay, let me go check it out. And I didn't find anything, but, I, you know, I don't know. But like I said, my latest theory is that we've all had an experience of that type, whether we consciously remember it or not.
Yeah, I know. It's difficult. Do you think the aliens live in the sea?
I think it's totally possible that there's bases under the ocean. I mean, that's a place where we have a very hard time getting to. Uh, but they seem to have, the military has already tracked these things going 200, knots an hour, which is incredible speed. Going in and out of the ocean and not breaking, splashing, making a big splash. They have some type of a way to do that. And so yeah, I definitely believe that we're dealing with a civilization perhaps that's been here a lot longer than we have, and they just continue to are able to continue to do what they do because of their technological superiority.
Yeah, I think something like 75% of the world is covered by water.
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's we're a water planet for sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Um, what you got planned for the future with yourself then? Are you going to write any more books or?
Well, that's an interesting question because I have been thinking about doing a follow up to that first book, and then maybe approaching it a little bit differently. But I haven't put pen to paper yet on that. This, my first book came about during the COVID shutdown. So I had a lot of time to put put pen to paper, if you will, and that came out. I don't have that kind of time now, but I am retired, so I suppose I do have time. I just got to just do it. That's the big thing. Just
You know, when you talk about UFO, does it run in your family?
well, I never asked my parents that question. They're both gone now, so uh, but no one. My daughters, I don't believe, have had any experiences of that nature. Uh, and they certainly know all about me and what I do. So no, they haven't brought it up in any way, shape, or form. Um, no, I don't know of any other relative but I've been, like I say, I've been doing this now for over 3 decades, and there've been times when I've said, "Okay, I've done enough. I'm going to back out. I'm not going to do this anymore." And then next thing I know, I get pulled back in because I think they have helped me
Yes.
without being overt. When I've needed help in certain areas, all of a sudden somebody shows up to give me that kind of help, which is interesting in and of itself.
Do you think? Do you think we are ever going to be ready for disclosure?
I think so. I think 70% of the people will be fine with it. It's the other 30% that are going to have a real issue. Um, I don't think. I mean, the Catholic Church, for instance, is they're they're open to it already. I mean, that's not an issue for the Catholic Church, from what I understand. I don't know about other, religions, whether or not there might be any issues that way. But yeah, I don't think we'd have a major problem. Yeah, there's going to be a subset that's going to have an issue, but the majority of people, I think, will be fine.
A few people think that they're going to show up before we know it. They're going to turn up in big cities where they're going to say, Look, this is it. They're here now. What's the government going to do about this now?"
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. If you look at Independence Day, I don't want them to show up like that. That movie, Independence Day.
Oh, God. Oh, yes. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, in the UK, we don't talk about it on TV a
Mhm,
lot these days. It's only on Sky channels where they'll talk about UFOs or anything like that. But on national news, very rare they talk about it on there.
mhm.
Any sightings or anything.
Yeah, there's a mindset. It depends on the country. Brazil is very open to it. France is not very open to it. They have a hard time, getting the word out, so to speak. But other countries, Belgium is open. A lot of different countries are open to it. I mean,
Uruguay, I think, as well. Another.
yeah, Japan, the Chinese are very involved. I mean, they're doing their own reverse engineering over there, and the Russians too. The Russians too are very open to it. But you might not hear a lot about it, but they are.
Do you think we'll ever go back to the moon again?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, the U.S. is definitely planning that already. The competition between Bezos's company, Amazon, and then Elon Musk's group. They've got they both have rockets going up, so we'll be back to the moon, in spite of the fact that we were probably told that we shouldn't go there,
That's
according
right.
to some of the astronauts that came back and said, "Yeah, we saw them."
Exactly. But yeah, because they've been told many a time, you do not come back to the moon.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if
Yeah,
it's true or false, I don't know.
yeah. Well, we may go back to the moon with guns this time. I don't know. It's
But they always say there's bases on the moon at the other side, what we
yeah,
don't see.
right. Yeah, yeah. There's supposed to be buildings there that are miles tall and all kinds of different things going on. And
we're about come to the end of the show.
all right.
But thank you again for coming on the show. It's been wonderful as always when you're a great guest.
Bob, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it very, very much. And tell all those people in the UK, have a wonderful day.
I will do. I will do. Yeah. Well, it's night time now. Like
yeah. I guess it's getting dark.
Yes, 8 o'clock in the evening now.
Right. Well, have a good night.
Fabulous talking with you.
Go to the pub and have a pint.
Yeah. My guests next Wednesday, he's been on before, Philip Permont. He writes books about crystals. He's quite well known all around the world. He does lectures in America, UK, Japan, China, all over the place about what crystals actually do. They can help you in life, make you feel better and all that carry on. So he's on next Wednesday, the 19th of November, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific, and 7 p.m. in the UK. So thank you again. Let's go up here in the show. And thank you to everybody in chat room.